But let's move on now to a controversial interview on the ABC by 7:30 host Sarah Ferguson, who grilled Shadow Energy Minister Ted O'Brien about his nuclear policy.
But stop you. I'm just going to. I know it's jumping in very quickly, but forgive me because
that's okay.
We've spoken to a lot of experts, and there's a lot of expertise on the table from the CSIRO over a number of years.
Right.
So
so before construction, you're right. You do need to stand up a regulator and so forth.
I'm just going to ask you a question now.
Can I answer that question?
Let me just say this one thing, because I think this is very important for the audience.
Right now, we are in a mess because we have somebody with one-liners trying to run the system.
To be fair to him, he was talking about a whole series of things. That was the thing that he says
specific.
At the end.
We already have blackouts. It's getting worse, and our renewables target is failing.
I have brought you in here to talk about nuclear energy, so let's not waste time talking about the government for the moment. No, I'm going to stop you there.
Well, the lefty pundits on Twitter seem to love the exchange, mainly because many of them just like to see a Conservative stopped from speaking. But was it good journalism? Wouldn't it be better to give him the opportunity to speak with clarity so that the audience can see the best possible iteration of his ideas? When I look at policies, I want to know the strongest representation of that concept as a starting point before you try and chip away at feasibility. Should we seriously conclude the future of Australia's energy sector based on who can debate better? Now, Ferguson is right to test his claims, but there were moments in that interview where it looked like they were just at cross purposes. It looked like they were debating different points rather than having a shared conversation. And as a journalist with one foot firmly in the digital world, it was yet another reminder of why long-form podcasts and conversations have become so popular. Now, O'Brien certainly held his own in this format, and his media advisors were probably pretty happy with the performance. But in reality, the audience is left knowing not much more about either proposition on the table. Kel, sometimes I think that we can get, as journalists, too obsessed with the moment of almost dominating somebody in the interview and winning. And it's a disservice to the audience.
Yes,
and I do think that's why people are finding other mediums, and they've got this yearning for a different format of conversation, which is maybe a little bit higher intellectually.
Well, not only that, it's the old idea that the interview doesn't exist as combat. It exists for information. It's if I can draw out from this person what they have to say, the audience are not idiots. They'll work it out for themselves. Instead of, this is a combat which I have to win. Just talk about the craft of the interview, and I'm telling you stuff that you already know. When you interrupt an interviewee, that's not a good thing to do, and you try to avoid doing it as much as you can. And with the professional interviewee, which all politicians are, they know going in they need to give shortish answers so there can be a backwards. She did not let him finish a single answer. Every answer she was treading, stop, I've got more to say, stop, I don't like what you're saying. Now, that is, in craft terms, incompetent, amateurish, backyard interviewing. It's appalling. I think the problem is that Sarah Ferguson decided she doesn't care anymore. She's not there to be an interviewer. She's not there to be a journalist. She's there because she's playing to her main audience. Her main audience is the staff of the ABC. Her secondary audience is ABC viewers who are mainly on side with her. The rest of the community, there is no interest in informing. In craft terms, it was an extremely badly conducted interview. I've worked with some of the best interviewers in the world, and that comes a long way down the scale in terms of just craft skills of doing an interview.
Yeah, I mean, Darren, do you agree with Kel? Was it good journalism? I came away not knowing any more about Ted O'Brien's policy, and I think that's where the failure is. If you happen to get somebody like him on the show, you've got to give them a little bit of rope. And I'm not suggesting that you let him get away with complete furphies, but you want him to be able to represent himself in full.
Yeah, 100%. And this is such a critical debate at the moment. The risks and the costs of renewable energy are becoming very, very clear. What we need to hear are facts, not ideological objections to nuclear power, which are not actually shared by many Australians. I pulled out some news poll stats, and in the most recent survey, 55% favour proposals to build several nuclear reactors to produce zero emissions energy on sites of retired coal-fired power stations. So many Australians would like to know why we're a world leader in uranium. You know, many top nations around the world will be using it to power their energy needs. People would like to know why Australia doesn't plan to do that as well. So she, fair enough, you know, if someone's going on about the same point over and over again, bring them back to the topic that you're there to debate. But she really didn't give him a chance to explain himself and put facts on the table.
Yeah, really good points.